Microsoft Defender for Cloud integrates the MITRE ATT&CK framework, giving you the same playbook that industry leaders use to identify attack stages. But how does it actually work? In this video, we break down how this powerful feature can help you understand and stop threats in their tracks.
You're listening to the End May 65 show, the ultimate podcast for all things Microsoft 365. Whether you're an IT pro, a power user, or just getting started, we break down the latest updates, share productivity tips, and dive deep into tools like Teams, SharePoint, Power BI, Power Platform, and more.
Every time we bring you real-world insights, expert interviews, and the stories that matter, helping you make the most out of your modern workplace. So grab your headphones, get comfortable, and let's unlock the full potential of Microsoft 365. This is the Master 65 show, where work gets smarter.
The rising threat: why ransomware is easier than ever. What if anyone, even with minimal technical skills, could use a laptop to launch a full-scale ransomware attack? Unfortunately, that's no longer a hypothetical. This grim reality has been driven by the rise of ransomware as a service, or RAS. Much like legitimate software subscription models, RAS offers criminal operators everything they need to run ransomware campaigns, often with alarming ease. For an aspiring attacker, gone are the days of needing deep programming knowledge or groundbreaking technical expertise. Instead, they can rent prepackaged ransomware kits developed by professional cybercriminals, allowing them to focus on delivery and ransom collection. RAS has dramatically expanded the pool of potential attackers by erasing traditional barriers to entry. Criminal suppliers provide not just the ransomware malware, but online dashboards to manage attacks, customer support for technical guidance, and even marketing materials to maximize a campaign's success. Some ransomware kits even feature counter-antivirus tools, ensuring the payload evades detection during deployment. These services function so seamlessly that they mimic legitimate business operations, except their sole aim is disruption and profit through illicit means. The sophistication of RAS ecosystems has pulled ransomware into mainstream criminal activity. For example, one of the most infamous attacks attributed to ransomware in recent years is the Colonial Pipeline incident. A single vulnerability, a neglected legacy VPN password, provided attackers with all the access needed to cripple fuel supplies in parts of the United States. While the pipeline operator was able to recover its systems fairly quickly, they paid a $4.4 million ransom to restore operations, although much of the sum was later recovered by federal authorities. Vulnerabilities like unpatched software or poorly secured remote access remain low-hanging fruit for malicious actors. These are persistent weak points despite guidelines urging stricter security postures. The data relating to ransomware paints an even starker picture. According to Cybersecurity reports, ransomware attacks rose significantly over the last few years, and the trend shows no sign of slowing. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, has issued repeated warnings, highlighting the growing range and impact of RAS-fueled incidents. The professionalism of these operations means attackers are no longer chaotic lone wolves. They are strategic, deliberate, and opportunistic. The tools at their disposal have adapted to defeat even modern defenses. For instance, organizations now face advanced payloads deployed via phishing emails, where malicious links or attachments lead to stolen credentials or direct malware executions. Even in 2023, phishing remains one of the most successful delivery methods for ransomware campaigns. It capitalizes on human error, tricking users into clicking on what looks like legitimate communication. Through tactics like fileless attacks, leveraging legitimate tools like PowerShell to avoid writing malware to the hard drive, attackers succeed where traditional antivirus solutions fail. These incidents exploit one painful truth: a single user's mistake can start a domino effect with catastrophic consequences for entire organizations. What makes phishing so successful despite its age as a tactic? Cybercriminals constantly adapt their methods, tailoring their messages to current events, business trends, or even social upheavals. This makes their attempts more credible and their victims far more likely to engage. The Verizon 2021 Data Breach Investigations report underscored that phishing remains a primary method of malware distribution, reinforcing its status as a mainstay of cyber attacks. If phishing wasn't enough, attackers often combine old and new techniques to devastating effect. Consider the role of credential theft. Many RAS kits rely on stolen credentials as entry points. For attackers, this means either brute forcing remote desktop protocol, RDP logins, or phishing for login details through fake domain pages. Once these credentials are acquired, they serve as the perfect key to the victim's network or third-party services, allowing attackers to quietly navigate internal systems undetected until they are ready to execute their ransomware payload. Perhaps the clearest signal of RAS's effectiveness lies in its economics. For example, the Revil Ransomware Group, a well-known RAS provider, demanded a record-breaking 50 million ransom from Acer in 2021. The same group targeted JBS Foods and temporarily shut down operations in multiple countries, forcing the company to pay an $11 million ransom. These attacks highlight the impact ransomware has on critical industries, from manufacturing to energy to food production, destabilizing essential parts of the global economy in a matter of days. What fuels this cycle is the financial accessibility of RAS kits. Criminal operators often charge their clients on a revenue-sharing basis, sometimes taking just a cut of the ransom rather than requiring upfront payments. For a first-time attacker, this virtually eliminates the financial risk of launching a campaign. The more successful the ransom haul, the greater the reward for both attacker and provider. It's a system designed not just for profit but for scale, providing even small-time hackers with a launching pad to wreak widespread havoc. The ripple effect of such attacks doesn't end with ransom payments or data recovery. Businesses that experience ransomware breaches often struggle with reputational damage, disruption of services, and even compliance fines. Cyber insurance premiums for affected companies skyrocket and trust among customers erodes. In short, the consequences extend far beyond encrypted files or operational downtime. CISA has noted that the broader IT and operational landscape amplifies these threats. The adoption of bring-your-own-device BYOD policies combined with the rapid shift to cloud-based platforms has exponentially increased the attack surface for cybercriminals. Traditional perimeters are dissolving as workforces remain distributed, leaving organizations reliant on extended endpoints that might not always be secure. Meanwhile, many businesses assume they are immune from such attacks, falsely believing their size or industry shields them from targeting. So, what does all this mean for defending against ransomware? The solution lies in proactive intelligent defenses, systems and tools that not only detect these threats early but adapt to the constantly shifting tactics of attackers. It's no longer enough to rely on stopgap measures like antivirus software or a firewall. Organizations need platforms capable of analyzing potential vulnerabilities, flagging suspicious activity, and mitigating damage as attacks unfold. But where does this leave us in such a high-risk environment? The answer lies in security solutions built for the complexity of this landscape. Solutions that act not as a patchwork of tools but as unified platforms capable of viewing, monitoring, and responding to threats holistically. Solutions like Microsoft Defender for Cloud, designed from the ground up to keep pace with modern cybersecurity challenges. So how does Microsoft Defender for Cloud rise to meet this challenge? Let's dive in. Enter Microsoft Defender for Cloud, your all-in-one security solution. What if one tool could monitor, detect, and respond to threats seamlessly across all your cloud environments? That's exactly what Microsoft Defender for Cloud promises. As organizations adopt multi-cloud strategies, the challenge of managing security becomes more complex than ever. Each cloud provider, whether it's Azure, AWS, or GCP, has its own set of tools, configurations, and risks. Without a unified way to oversee security holistically, gaps can easily form, leaving organizations vulnerable to sophisticated threats. Microsoft Defender for Cloud is designed to tackle this head-on. At its core, it's a centralized security platform that gives you visibility and control over all your cloud workloads. Whether your resources live in Azure, flow across the shared architecture of AWS, or are maintained through GCP, Defender for Cloud brings everything under one roof. It eliminates the need to juggle multiple cloud-native security tools, saving time and minimizing the chances of something slipping through the cracks. One of the first things you'll notice about the platform is how much it simplifies your security efforts. Managing workloads in multi-cloud environments is no small task, especially when trying to prevent, detect, and respond to threats in real time. Defender for Cloud doesn't just aim to monitor your environment passively, it's designed to actively strengthen your overall security posture. Its suite of features includes threat detection, automated security recommendations, and compliance checks to make sure your environment aligns with industry standards. Let's take a closer look at some of these features. Threat detection is arguably one of the most critical capabilities. Cyber threats evolve daily, and traditional methods of responding reactively to attacks simply don't cut it anymore. With Defender for Cloud, you can detect suspicious activity across your cloud accounts, servers, databases, containers, and more. The platform uses intelligent algorithms to analyze activity patterns, flagging anything that looks out of place. For example, if unusual API requests start appearing from a server hosted in the cloud, Defender for Cloud will immediately raise an alert. Next is its Security Recommendations feature, which is part of the Cloud Security Posture Management (CSPM) capabilities. At first, It can be overwhelming to identify where exactly improvements are needed, especially if you're managing dozens or even hundreds of cloud resources. Defender for Cloud generates tailored recommendations to help you focus on the most critical gaps. These aren't generic suggestions you'd need to decode. Instead, they're actionable steps like enabling encryption on a specific storage bucket or setting tighter access controls on virtual machines. It's essentially a guided checklist that helps prioritize tasks so you're not wasting time guessing what to fix first. Now let's talk about compliance. Meeting regulatory requirements isn't just about earning a security seal of approval, it's about staying operational, especially as more industries face increasingly stringent data laws. With its built-in compliance checks, Defender for Cloud automates the process of verifying that your configurations align with key regulatory frameworks. Whether your organization needs to meet SOC 2, ISO 27001 or GDPR standards, Defender for Cloud turns complex compliance into a manageable task. You can continuously assess your resources to ensure they're up to par, making audits far less daunting. The beauty of all these features is how they work seamlessly. Instead of using separate systems to monitor security, filter alerts, and verify compliance, you get a streamlined experience that not only saves time but also reduces trial and error errors in securing resources. For professionals responsible for managing cloud security, this simplicity is invaluable. Whether you're a developer integrating application workloads, a security administrator fine-tuning policies, or even part of a DevOps team ensuring smooth deployments, this tool is designed to make your job easier without compromising security. It's user-centric in the truest sense. And here's a feature that will appeal to everyone, regardless of their expertise level: the free tier. When you activate Defender for Cloud, its free tier immediately begins working in your Azure environment. This includes the Secure Score, which provides a quantitative measure of your overall security posture. Essentially, your Secure Score tells you how well your resources are protected, and you're given clear steps to improve it. The beauty of this feature isn't just its simplicity, but how it removes the guesswork from security. You might discover, for instance, that outdated firewall rules are contributing to a low score, and following the provided recommendation could help resolve the issue instantly. In addition to the Secure Score, the free tier covers policy management and basic security assessments. Think of it as a diagnostic tool that scans your environment and reports issues. It's not just a passive assessment, though. It also helps set a baseline, guiding you towards greater protection and compliance down the line. From your first use, you're empowered with a clear understanding of where to begin and which initiatives to prioritize. Now, as useful as the free tier is for initial scans and analyses, its capabilities are inherently limited. For those looking to truly boost protection, the Enhanced Security Plan opens the door to a much broader range of advanced features. This includes multi-cloud support, which allows you to extend protection to AWS and GCP similarly to Azure. By integrating external platforms, Defender for Cloud becomes a one-stop solution for organizations operating across diverse infrastructures. It doesn't matter if different teams manage your clouds, Defender for Cloud accommodates them all, providing a centralized view of threats, recommendations, and compliance statuses in real time. Enhanced Security also allows you to leverage proactive defenses like just-in-time virtual machine, VM access, and adaptive application controls. Just-in-time VM access lets you lock down unused ports by default, preventing external attacks that rely on brute-forcing ports like SSH or RDP. When legitimate access is needed, you can enable specific ports temporarily based on user need, adding an extra layer of security. Adaptive application controls use machine learning to analyze your workloads and establish baseline acceptable activities. If unauthorized or unusual actions occur outside that baseline, they're flagged immediately. There's one more advanced tier capability worth mentioning: continuous export. For organizations that already rely on a security information and event management SIEM system, this feature is a game changer. Defender for Cloud integrates seamlessly with third-party CMs, automatically exporting security alerts and recommendations. This enables security teams to consolidate data, analyze broader trends, and take action faster. Whether your SIEM of choice is Microsoft Sentinel or another tool, continuous export bridges the gap between operational visibility and response. Whether you're focused on free or paid tiers, Microsoft Defender for Cloud equips your team with more than just tools. It provides context. By understanding threats, addressing vulnerabilities, and aligning with compliance standards, you're not just reacting to threats, but actively preparing for them. It shows that good security isn't about layering tools. It's about how those tools work together, simplifying even the toughest challenges. It's important to note the strategic role Defender for Cloud plays in multi-cloud environments. Many organizations adopt various platforms for different workloads. AWS might handle storage, while GCP powers analytics, and Azure runs scalable web applications. This approach maximizes efficiency but complicates security. Connecting AWS and GCP into Defender for Cloud consolidates security efforts, all your resources under one umbrella, with consistent protection no matter the platform. Plus, its ability to adapt to different infrastructures eliminates duplicated efforts, so you can focus on what matters most: staying protected. The real triumph of Defender for Cloud is how it turns a fragmented security picture into a focused strategy. It streamlines the overwhelming complexity of managing cloud workloads and ties everything into a unified framework. Whether you're patching vulnerabilities, flagging unusual behaviors, or preparing for the next compliance audit, Defender for Cloud generates insights tailored for action, not confusion. So far, we've seen how Microsoft Defender for Cloud simplifies cloud security, offering features that monitor, detect, and respond to threats in real time. But how exactly does it fend off these growing cyber threats? What mechanisms are in place to break down complex attacks and neutralize risks before they escalate? Let's break it down. Understanding the enemy, the 5 phases of a spear phishing attack. How does a single email spiral into a full-blown data breach? The answer lies in spear phishing, one of the most persistent, targeted, and dangerous cyber attack methods in use today. Spear phishing is effective because it exploits one of the weakest links in cybersecurity, human users. It isn't a random spray and pray approach. Instead, attackers plan meticulously, crafting personalized emails designed to trick individuals into sharing sensitive information or, even worse, providing direct access to their organization's network. What makes spear phishing particularly challenging to combat is the heavy use of social engineering. Attackers rely on psychology to deceive their targets, appearing as trusted entities like co-workers, financial institutions, or even government agencies. Before the victim even receives an email, the attacker has already laid the groundwork. Spear phishing begins with the preparation phase, where the attacker sets up their infrastructure. This typically involves creating fake domains that closely mimic legitimate ones, such as swapping letters or using similar-looking characters. Let's say you work for a company called SecureNet. An attacker might create a domain like securenetemail.com or s3curenet.com to make their messages appear authentic at a glance. They might also gather detailed information about their target, including job roles, work responsibilities, and even social connections. By the time the email is ready, it feels tailored to you, because it is. The second phase is sending the email. This might seem straightforward, but attackers are strategic even here. They don't send out a single email and hope for the best. Instead, they carefully time their messages, choosing moments that align with the target's schedule or current events, aiming to increase the chances of engagement. Imagine receiving an email right before a quarterly report is due, appearing to come from your manager. The message might ask for sensitive data or task you with opening an urgent attachment. The timing alone lends credibility. Once the email lands in someone's inbox, the third phase comes into play: social engineering. Attackers craft these emails to exploit trust and urgency. They might impersonate someone with authority or use alarming language to pressure the recipient into acting immediately. For example, an email might warn you that your account will be deactivated unless you confirm your password on a verification page, a page that looks almost identical to the login portal of the service you use. These techniques thrive on creating a sense of familiarity, convincing victims to act first and scrutinize later. If the victim engages with the email, the fourth phase unfolds: theft. Often the email contains a hyperlink that leads to a malicious page. This can happen in one of two ways. In one scenario, the link redirects the target to a fake domain, such as a counterfeit login page for systems like Office 365 or Google Drive. Once the individual enters their credentials, the attacker captures them in real time. Alternatively, clicking the link might download malware directly onto the victim's device. The malware could be designed to track keystrokes, steal saved passwords, or give attackers remote access to the system. Either way, the attacker ends up with what they were after: credentials and potentially access to an entire network or much more. Now, the fifth and final phase is where the real damage begins. Using the stolen credentials, attackers can penetrate legitimate systems or networks. Since credentials are valid, activities they perform might not even trigger immediate suspicion. For example, someone gaining unauthorized access to a shared cloud storage account might quietly copy sensitive files without altering anything visibly. In more dangerous cases, attackers use credentials to escalate their privileges or install further malware, turning a data breach into a long-term compromise. At this point, the organization is at significant risk. Data might be stolen, accounts locked, or ransomware deployed. This process, carefully orchestrated across 5 phases, is how spear phishing transforms an email into something far more dangerous. And despite organizations investing in security tools and training programs, mistakes still happen. That's because most attacks rely on common human errors. One of the biggest mistakes users make is clicking on links without scrutinizing them. Attackers exploit this by designing URLs that look legitimate but aren't. A link like secureloginportal.com might seem harmless at a glance, but one missing detail, such as a letter being replaced with a similar-looking character, can make all the difference. Phishing messages often layer the deception by embedding these malicious domains into buttons or shortened links, making them harder to spot outright. Adding to that, attackers are skilled at personalizing their emails. By gathering detailed information from sources like social media or the company's own directory, they craft messages that sound convincing. For example, if an attacker learns you recently attended a conference, they might send you an email from a colleague you met there, with the subject line, "Follow up on conference notes." If the email contains a link asking you to download the latest agenda updates, you're likely to trust it without a second thought. Yet clicking it could trigger one of the two scenarios we just reviewed, either redirecting you to a malicious domain or initiating a malware download. When credentials are stolen during a spear phishing attack, they unlock a host of opportunities for attackers. They might use the login details to access company email accounts or upload malware disguised as harmless files into shared cloud storage. Credentials from phishing can also be the key to more advanced attacks like bypassing multi-factor authentication through techniques like consent phishing, where attackers trick users into granting unnecessary permissions to tools or apps. Each step acts as a gateway for attackers to infiltrate further, causing larger ripples of impact across the organization. The consequences of falling victim to such an attack can range from financial theft to long-term operational damage. Organizations lose time and resources responding to breaches. Meanwhile, the compromised data, whether that's intellectual property, client records, or trade secrets, can lead to lasting reputational harms. Cybercriminals know this, which is why they focus on the human component. Even with strong technical defenses in place, a single misclick or incorrectly placed trust is all it takes to trigger major consequences. So how do you stay ahead of these attacks? Understanding the tactics attackers use is the first step. Implementing email security controls, such as flagging messages from external senders, can reduce the chance of phishing emails reaching inboxes. Training employees to recognize the common signals of phishing, like hovering over links to inspect the real URL, scrutinizing sender addresses, and staying wary of unexpected requests, adds a layer of human defense. However, awareness alone isn't enough when tactics are constantly evolving. The reality is stopping spear phishing efficiently requires tools designed to act when humans slip up. Microsoft Defender for Cloud is one such solution, capable of detecting suspicious or anomalous activity and issuing real-time alerts. By analyzing behavior patterns, it can flag potentially compromised accounts before attackers gain further access. For instance, if a legitimate user account suddenly begins accessing sensitive files from an unfamiliar device or region, the system doesn't wait for manual intervention. It surfaces these anomalies for administrators to act immediately. This ability to detect potential compromises early on enables organizations to respond faster, mitigating damage before it spreads. Whether credentials are stolen or suspicious logins are identified, Defender for Cloud continuously correlates data to identify risks, keeping systems protected. It shifts the focus from solely preventing attacks to detecting the ones that inevitably get through, minimizing the impact once identified. Now that we know how attackers work during a spear phishing campaign, let's see how Defender for Cloud maps these threats to specific attack stages. By understanding each phase of an attack, you can turn potential vulnerabilities into actionable defenses. Decoding attacks with the MITRE ATT&CK framework. What if you could understand every move an attacker makes during a breach? Imagine being able to break down their tactics step by step, seeing not just what they've done, but also what they're planning to do next. The good news is we don't have to imagine it. This is exactly what the MITRE ATT&CK framework provides. Widely regarded as a cornerstone in cybersecurity, MITRE ATT&CK is a globally recognized knowledge base of adversary tactics and techniques that security teams use to understand, analyze, and counter cyber threats. It's based on real-world observations of how attackers operate, mapping out every step they might take, from their initial entry into a system all the way through data exfiltration or system compromise. What makes the framework so effective is its structure. It organizes common attack behaviors into categories or stages, offering a clear path for defenders to track how an incident unfolds. Each stage comes with a detailed explanation showing what the attacker is likely doing and why. For a security team, this is invaluable. Instead of responding blindly to isolated alerts, they can place these actions into context, identifying the stage of the attack and determining the best way to respond. For example, noticing a suspect login attempt is one thing, but when that login aligns with the reconnaissance phase in the ATT&CK framework, it becomes part of a bigger picture. Are they probing your system for vulnerabilities? Have they already escalated their privileges? The answers become much clearer with this framework. But here's where things get truly powerful. Microsoft Defender for Cloud integrates the MITRE ATT&CK framework directly into its operations. By doing this, Microsoft provides organizations with a way to map security alerts and recommendations to specific stages of an attack. This isn't just a nice feature to have. It's a game changer for detecting and mitigating threats quickly. When an alert pops up in Defender for Cloud, it isn't just labeled as suspicious activity. Instead, that activity is tied to a specific tactic or technique from the MITRE ATT&CK library, offering immediate insight into what stage of the attack is happening and what might come next. This removes much of the guesswork for security operations teams, saving time and ensuring a faster, more accurate response. Let's break that down with a real-world example. Imagine a security operations center or SOC responding to a flagged event where an administrative login attempt was made from an unusual geographic location. Without proper context, team members might see this and simply reset the password or temporarily block access. But by using Defender for Cloud's integration with MITRE ATT&CK, that event can be categorized as part of the initial access stage of an attack. Not only does the SOC now understand this isn't just a random login, but a deliberate step in a larger playbook, but they also gain insights into adjacent techniques that might follow. For instance, they might learn this stage often leads to credential dumping or lateral movement if not addressed aggressively. This type of mapping empowers SOC teams to think proactively. Instead of chasing down alerts as they pop up, they can focus their resources on interrupting the broader attack chain. If the attempted login is part of an attack's initial access, the team knows to begin investigating potential footholds the attacker might have already established. Did they plant malware during the login attempt? Have they created shadow user accounts for future access? Knowing the attack stage provides a roadmap for mitigation that generic alerts simply can't offer. Defender for Cloud doesn't stop there. Beyond mapping alerts, it also aligns its security recommendations with the MITRE ATT&CK framework. This helps organizations focus on preventative measures before an attack even begins. Think of it as a playbook of actionable steps designed to harden your environment against known tactics. For example, if the framework identifies phishing as a common initial tactic, Defender for Cloud might recommend tightening email security protocols or enabling multi-factor authentication for all users. These aren't just theoretical strategies, they are preventative actions tied directly to the tactics attackers are known to use. This combination of aligning alerts and recommendations with the MITRE ATT&CK framework creates a seamless process for not just detecting threats, but truly understanding them. It turns what could be a flood of overwhelming technical data into actionable insights that even smaller teams can manage effectively. And by using a structured method like this, organizations not only respond faster, but also learn from each attack, improving their defenses over time. Now, why is this depth of understanding important? The reality is that cyber attacks are rarely isolated incidents. Hackers don't just lob a single exploit at their targets, they move strategically, adapting to the security layers they encounter. If an organization only addresses surface-level symptoms without tracing an attacker's methodology, they risk overlooking deeper vulnerabilities. This oversight can leave systems exposed for longer periods and allow attackers more time to exploit other areas of the network. The MITRE ATT&CK framework mitigates this by showing security teams the bigger picture, and Defender for Cloud leverages this knowledge to connect the dots in real time. A great example of this is how Defender for Cloud enables organizations to use the framework proactively for resource defense. Let's say your team receives a recommendation to address a privilege escalation vulnerability on cloud VM instances. Without mapping this to the MITRE ATT&CK framework, this might seem like a standard fix, a box to check. But once the recommendation is tied to a tactic like privilege escalation, it underscores how attackers specifically exploit these vulnerabilities after gaining initial access. It also points teams toward further defenses to prevent lateral movement, ensuring the fix isn't just a one-off, but part of a broader protective strategy. Equally important is how this mapping helps prioritize threats. Not all alerts carry the same weight, and some require immediate attention while others can be tackled after more critical issues are resolved. Defender for Cloud empowers teams to focus on high-priority risks by showing how each alert fits into the context of an attack stage. If a SOC sees an alert categorized under the execution stage of an attack, for instance, they know the situation is already progressing and requires immediate containment efforts. This triaging capability speeds up response times and ensures vital resources are allocated effectively, potentially saving organizations from significant disruptions. The importance of these features isn't just theoretical, it's measurable. Independent evaluations like those conducted by MITRE Ingenuity consistently highlight Microsoft's implementation of the ATT&CK framework as industry-leading. For 3 consecutive years, evaluations have verified Microsoft's superior ability to provide detailed threat detection and response capabilities mapped to real-world attack scenarios. This recognition reinforces the practical impact of using the framework in tools like Defender for Cloud, especially for organizations looking to operate with confidence in increasingly hostile cyber environments. Understanding the behavior of attackers and turning complex threats into actionable insights is the cornerstone of a strong security posture. By leveraging MITRE ATT&CK in Defender for Cloud, organizations unlock that ability. The framework doesn't just take static data and translate it into tech jargon, it offers a direct line of communication between security teams and the tactics used by adversaries. This shared understanding creates a unified strategy for defending against everything from phishing campaigns to advanced persistent threats. So, how else does Defender for Cloud help you prioritize and refine your security efforts? We've seen how the MITRE ATT&CK framework provides clarity during an attack, but that's only one part of the equation. Organizations also need to prepare themselves for threats that evolve beyond known tactics. In the next section, we'll explore Microsoft's unique approach to staying ahead of attackers, including how the assume breach mentality ensures no blind spot is left uncovered. Let's take a look. The assume breach mentality. Why detection matters most. What if preventing breaches isn't enough to keep attackers out? That's the reality we're facing today. No matter how sophisticated your security measures are, the assumption that a system can ever be completely impenetrable is outdated. This is why Microsoft has adopted what's known as the assume breach philosophy. At its core, this philosophy means working with the expectation that attackers will find a way in, if they haven't already, and focusing efforts on detecting and responding to those breaches as quickly as possible. It's a shift from a prevention-only mindset to one that prioritizes early detection and minimizing damage. Why is this shift so necessary? Attackers today are not just opportunistic. They're calculated and capable of exploiting blind spots in even the most secure environments. Research shows that breaches often go unnoticed for extended periods, sometimes averaging up to 200 days. Think about that. An attacker could be moving laterally through your network, escalating privileges and harvesting data for months before anyone realizes they're there. This is why detection matters so much. The longer an intruder stays undetected, the more damage they can do, not just to your systems, but to your organization's reputation and bottom line. Microsoft's assume breach approach is designed to act swiftly and decisively the moment a compromise occurs. The key is identifying the breach early, before an attacker has the chance to escalate access to higher value assets. To maintain this proactive stance, Microsoft invests heavily in advanced detection techniques like behavioral analysis and anomaly detection, but they don't stop there. They've also institutionalized one of the most effective ways to prepare for real-world breaches: red teaming exercises. Red teaming involves simulating a cyber attack under controlled conditions to test the resilience of an organization's security systems. At Microsoft, this process is a routine part of their defense strategy. During an exercise, a red team of skilled professionals acts as the attacker, attempting to penetrate the Azure infrastructure or other critical systems. Their job is to simulate tactics, techniques, and procedures that real-world adversaries would likely use. Meanwhile, a blue team operates on the defensive, tasked with detecting, responding, and neutralizing the simulated threats. The goal isn't simply to win one side over the other. What really matters is what both teams learn. After each exercise, Microsoft conducts a thorough post-mortem analysis involving both the red and blue teams. They review the attack paths the red team pursued, the methods that worked, and the defenses that stopped them, or didn't. This creates an invaluable feedback loop. The blue team gains insights into where improvements are needed in detection capabilities, while the red team helps refine their understanding of modern attack methodologies. Take, for example, a common starting point in many real-world attacks: low-value assets. Attackers frequently use such assets as their initial entry point. Think poorly secured endpoints, unpatched vulnerabilities, or easily guessed credentials. From there, they attempt to move laterally, probing for more critical areas to exploit. By designing red team scenarios that target these early-stage weaknesses, Microsoft's blue teams are better equipped to identify similar tactics in real environments. This proactive approach means that when an actual attack occurs, organizations can limit the attacker's movement and block access to crown jewel assets like mission-critical applications or sensitive data repositories. What makes red teaming so effective is how it mirrors the creativity and persistence of actual attackers. The red team doesn't rely on pre-designed scenarios or identical playbooks each time. Instead, they adapt their techniques, exploring unconventional methods and probing areas that security measures might overlook. For instance, they might simulate a phishing campaign targeting privileged users or attempt privilege escalation through overlooked cloud configurations. Every discovery, both successful and unsuccessful, feeds back into improving the defenses of the system. But here's the key takeaway. The assume breach mindset doesn't stop at Microsoft's internal operations. It's a strategy that any organization can adopt to bolster its security posture. Organizations that proactively anticipate breaches position themselves far better to detect and respond, rather than being caught off guard. It's not about accepting defeat, but about stacking the odds in your favor. Even if you can't fully prevent every attack, you can minimize the impact by quickly neutralizing threats before they spiral into larger incidents. For example, implementing red teaming exercises isn't reserved for tech giants like Microsoft. Smaller organizations can simulate similar scenarios, whether in-house or by hiring third-party security consultants. These exercises help shine a light on potential weaknesses, offering a chance to improve security before a real attacker finds them, but it's also crucial to integrate these learnings into regular operations. It's not enough to run a one-off exercise. The results need to translate into actionable changes, from fortifying security settings on vulnerable endpoints to rolling out organization-wide phishing education campaigns. Microsoft's Assume Breach strategy also emphasizes the importance of monitoring low-priority activities where attackers often begin their campaigns. This doesn't mean overwhelming yourself with every minor alert, but rather using intelligent tools to monitor for anomalies that might signal deeper issues. For instance, Microsoft Defender for Cloud plays an instrumental role in this. It continuously monitors your cloud environments for signs of misuse, unusual login behaviors, or configuration drift. By feeding these signals into automated insights, Defender for Cloud ensures that even small discrepancies don't go unnoticed, helping security teams catch potential breaches early. The reason this approach works so well is that it recognizes the asymmetry in cybersecurity. Attackers only need one success point, but defenders must stay vigilant everywhere. Using detection-focused tools ensures you don't rely on the illusion of perfection within your defenses. Instead, you're operating in reality where attackers will find creative ways around your layers of protection. This kind of vigilance, fueled by preparedness and early incident response, limits the attacker's ability to escalate and cause widespread damage. Beyond technical defenses, the assume breach mentality also requires cultural changes within organizations. For example, cross-functional collaboration is essential. Teams responsible for IT operations, application development, and incident response must work together seamlessly, sharing insights and combining their strengths. If security measures are siloed within just one team, critical information might not reach decision-makers fast enough during an attack. Organizations like Microsoft prioritize integration between teams, whether it's through post-mortem analyses of red team exercises or by embedding security practices directly into DevOps workflows. This holistic approach ensures that detection and response are seen as shared responsibilities, not isolated tasks. Another critical takeaway from the assume breach philosophy is the importance of quick remediation. By assuming that breaches will happen, organizations are forced to ask themselves, how quickly can we identify a compromise and how effectively can we respond once we do? Every second counts during an intrusion. Attackers aim to move fast, navigating networks before detection tools catch up. Security teams need tools and processes that allow for direct, immediate action. This can range from isolating a compromised virtual machine to revoking suspicious access tokens in real time. Once again, solutions like Microsoft Defender for Cloud excel in these areas, offering automated actions that help security teams stay one step ahead. So, how can you apply this philosophy using Defender for Cloud? The platform is built with the assume breach mindset at its core. Its threat detection systems operate not as standalone components, but as part of a continuously adjusting feedback loop. For instance, should unusual behavior trigger an alert such as repeated failed login attempts from an unrecognized location, Defender for Cloud can not only notify the necessary teams, but also suggest remediation steps immediately, like enforcing stricter access controls or investigating related activities. And as new attack tactics emerge in the wild, Defender for Cloud's capabilities evolve, using Microsoft's own experience with breaches and simulations to refine detection mechanisms across its customer environments. By adopting an assume breach strategy alongside tools like Defender for Cloud, organizations can transform the way they approach security. It's less about chasing an impossible goal of perfection and more about achieving resilience. Can you catch an attacker quickly enough to prevent wider damage? Can you adapt your defenses based on past incidents? These are the questions this approach helps answer. The sophistication of modern attacks has made early detection and response capabilities essential. With an assume breach mindset and the technology to support it, organizations can shift from reactive to proactive defense, improving their ability to protect critical assets and maintain trust. Let's now dive into actionable steps you can take within Defender for Cloud to strengthen your defenses. Getting started with Defender for Cloud, the free tier. Did you know you can start improving your security posture today for free? Microsoft Defender for Cloud's free tier gives you the tools to take crucial first steps towards securing your Azure environment without committing to an advanced plan right away. Even in its free version, it delivers significant features like secure score, security recommendations, and policy assessments, all designed to give you a clearer picture of your organization's security state. Let's break those features down. At the heart of Defender for Cloud's free tier is Secure Score. As its name suggests, Secure Score provides a dynamic measurement of your overall security posture. Think of it as a credit score, but for your cloud security. The higher the score, the better defended your environment is. But it's not just a random number. This score reflects security controls across your workloads and highlights areas that need improvement. For example, if your storage account doesn't have encryption enabled, it will negatively impact your secure score, signaling you to take action. Each security control has its own individual score, and the cumulative total rolls up to give you that big picture view. To help you tackle these gaps, Defender for Cloud includes clear and actionable security recommendations. These are practical steps tailored to your specific environment. For instance, if one of your virtual machines has an open management port, an all-too-common vulnerability, the system might recommend enabling just-in-time access or setting up a network security group rule. Instead of leaving you unsure of where to start, it prioritizes these fixes based on their impact on your security posture and provides step-by-step guidance. The idea here is to take the guesswork out of securing your resources. Policy assessments are another key feature included in the free tier. A security policy acts as a guardrail, outlining the requirements and configurations needed to maintain a strong defensive framework. When your resources are evaluated against these policies, Defender for Cloud can continuously assess whether or not they meet these standards. So let's say one of your policies requires multi-factor authentication for all accounts. If accounts are missing this security layer, the system flags it and pairs it with a recommendation to address the issue. This ongoing process ensures that as your workloads evolve, your security standards remain enforceable and relevant. But while the free tier provides a strong foundation, it's important to recognize its limitations. Without upgrading to the enhanced security plan, you won't have access to advanced features like powerful threat detection across multi-cloud platforms or more nuanced control over configurations. For Azure users, the free tier focuses primarily on policy compliance and high-level assessments. It doesn't support continuous export into CM systems or advanced behavioral analytics for real-time threat responses. And while Secure Score in the free tier helps you identify critical fixes, advanced capabilities like just-in-time virtual machine access and deep integration with AWS and GCP remain part of the enhanced plan. Still, the free tier is an excellent starting point, especially if your goal is to develop a baseline understanding of your security posture and identify vulnerabilities. For organizations just beginning their cloud security journey, it provides immediate visibility into overlooked weaknesses. For example, it might uncover misconfigured access permissions or outdated software, all of which could have been silently increasing your exposure to potential breaches. These insights offer you a chance to address them before they become a problem. And you don't have to be a security expert to find value in what the free tier offers. Secure Score is not buried in technical jargon. It's displayed right on the Defender for Cloud dashboard, clearly labeled and easy to follow. Underneath the score, you'll also see a breakdown of the contributing factors. This segmentation is particularly helpful because it allows you to focus on the most pressing issues first, especially if time and resources are limited. For instance, if your score drops significantly because none of your storage accounts are encrypted, you can prioritize enabling encryption for those accounts right away. Once completed, you'll not only see your score improve, but know that you've reduced a significant security risk. Another free tier feature that can't be overlooked is its guided onboarding experience. When you first activate Defender for Cloud, the system walks you through initial configurations such as setting up a basic policy for your Azure subscriptions. This ensures that even new users have a functional security framework in place from day one. Think of it as a safety net. It won't replace in-depth planning, but it will help you avoid leaving your environment exposed while you sort out longer-term strategies. For teams with limited time or expertise, Defender for Cloud's recommendations can simplify even complex tasks. Let's say you receive a recommendation to secure an Azure SQL database that's accessible over the internet. If the process sounds intimidating, Defender for Cloud breaks it into manageable steps, often linking directly to the settings page or resource in question. This reduces friction, encouraging users to address issues that might have otherwise seemed too technical or time-consuming to resolve. It's also worth mentioning that the free tier is continuously working in the background. For example, every time you deploy new resources in your Azure environment, they're automatically evaluated for compliance against your security policies. This ongoing assessment means you're not relying on periodic manual reviews to check for vulnerabilities, something that can be a significant pain point for teams without a dedicated security team. While the free tier is ideal for gaining insight and enhancing your security baseline, the limitations it presents can quickly become noticeable as your environment grows. Larger organizations or those operating across multiple cloud platforms often find that the need for advanced insights and protections outweighs what the free tier offers. For instance, the free tier version of Secure Score will only reflect Azure-specific resources. If you're running workloads in AWS or GCP, those resources won't factor into your score. The enhanced security plan bridges these gaps, extending protection to multi-cloud architectures and deepening threat detection capabilities. As you explore the free tier, another feature worth trying is policy management. This not only provides an overview of your compliance, but allows you to set standards for your organization. By defining policies such as requiring encrypted disks or blocking shared access signatures without expiration dates, you can automate enforcement of best practices. While these policies are limited in scope under the free tier, they still provide an opportunity to improve consistency within your Azure resources. The free tier of Defender for Cloud is not just an entry point tool, it's also ideal for organizations looking to test the platform's potential before committing to more robust plans. Think of it as a trial that's functional enough to deliver value on its own. Whether you're a small team managing just a few Azure workloads or a larger organization exploring a shift towards centralized cloud security, starting with the free tier gives you actionable insights with minimal commitment. It says, here's where you are, here's what you can fix, and here's why it matters. But what about advanced features like threat detection, multi-cloud support, and the ability to proactively defend against more sophisticated attacks? While the free tier offers visibility and guidance, these higher-level tools are exclusively part of the enhanced security plan. By upgrading, users unlock capabilities that not only identify threats but take automated actions to mitigate them, expand support for other platforms like AWS and GCP, and integrate seamlessly with third-party security information and event management systems. Nonetheless, whether you stick with the free tier or choose to test advanced features, Microsoft Defender for Cloud gives you options. It's a comprehensive solution that meets you where you are, whether that's improving basic compliance, resolving your first security recommendations, or preparing to scale your defenses as your organization grows. Let's now look at the powerful features unlocked with enhanced security. Unlocking enhanced security, advanced features in Defender for Cloud. What do you gain when you upgrade to enhanced security in Defender for Cloud? It's not just more tools, it's a complete expansion of your defenses to tackle today's sophisticated threats. From advanced threat detection to multi-cloud coverage, the enhanced security plan is designed specifically to manage complex risks while simplifying how you protect your organization. Let's break it down, starting with the standout features that separate the enhanced plan from the free tier. First, there's real-time threat detection. The enhanced plan uses advanced analytics and Microsoft's extensive threat intelligence to identify malicious or unusual activities. Whether it's detecting attempts to exploit unpatched vulnerabilities, suspicious lateral movement within your network, or brute force login attempts, this feature ensures you're alerted early and accurately. But threat detection doesn't stop at raising alerts. It integrates with adaptive application controls, which ensure that only known and trusted applications can run on your virtual machines. This reduces the chance of malicious software being executed and adds a key layer of protection against evolving malware strategies. The capability doesn't end there. A game-changing feature included with enhanced security is just-in-time or JIT access for virtual machines. Think of this as a way to close one of the most exploited doors in any cloud setup: open management ports. Attackers often target ports like RDP or SSH through brute force attacks, trying millions of login combinations until they succeed. JIT access minimizes this risk by keeping these ports closed by default. Access can be granted temporarily, but only for specific time windows, specific users, and in response to specific requests. This drastically reduces your attack surface, making unauthorized access much harder for threat actors. And it's not just theory. Organizations using JIT access have reported significantly fewer incidents involving brute forcing, showing just how effective this single feature can be. Then there's continuous export, a feature tailor-made for organizations that rely on secured information and event management, CEM solutions for centralized monitoring. This feature allows Defender for Cloud to forward all security alerts, recommendations, and insights directly to your preferred CEM platform. If you're using Microsoft Sentinel or even a third-party tool like Splunk, continuous export ensures that all your security data is consolidated in one place for easier analysis and faster incident response. This integration isn't just about convenience. It's critical for teams that monitor large environments with multiple moving parts. By streamlining how security data is managed, automated processes can kick in faster, making remediation more efficient and reducing response times. Another standout advantage of the enhanced plan is multi-cloud support. While the free tier focuses on Azure, the upgraded plan extends its protection to Amazon Web Services, AWS, and Google Cloud Platform, GCP. Today, many organizations rely on more than one cloud provider. Some workloads might be hosted on Azure, while analytics are processed on GCP and storage managed in AWS. Bringing comprehensive security to multi-cloud environments ensures visibility and control across all platforms. Defender for Cloud doesn't treat AWS and GCP as add-ons. It offers the same detailed assessments, recommendations, and compliance checks as it does for Azure, creating a centralized space for managing your entire cloud footprint. With this multi-cloud support, ensuring consistent security policies becomes much easier. Instead of relying on individual tools specific to each provider, organizations get a unified platform to manage policies and track compliance statuses. For example, you can create a policy requiring encryption across resources in all environments. Defender for Cloud will assess your Azure VMs, GCP storage buckets, and AWS instances under this single requirement, helping you maintain continuity regardless of where data and operations reside. This reduces the complexity of managing separate tools or worrying that one environment might be overlooked due to lack of visibility. The enhanced plan doesn't stop at prevention. It also equips you to mitigate vulnerabilities before attackers exploit them. Vulnerability assessment integration is an excellent example. Defender for Cloud pairs with tools like Qualys and Microsoft Threat and Vulnerability Management (TVM) to provide detailed scans of your environment, identifying misconfigured components or outdated software that hackers often target. Unlike traditional scans that only surface static lists of issues, Defender for Cloud goes further, prioritizing vulnerabilities based on their potential impact and offering recommendations to remediate them. This approach ensures that your team focuses its efforts on fixing the most critical risks first, efficiently strengthening your overall security posture. By upgrading to the enhanced plan, you also unlock deeper endpoint integration. Through its connection to Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, MDE, the platform provides automated deployment of endpoint detection and response (EDR) capabilities across all supported servers. This synchronization means that alerts generated at the endpoint level, like unusual file activities or suspicious process executions, automatically appear in Defender for Cloud's dashboard, giving you a more cohesive view of active threats. This integration isn't just isolated to alerts, it improves workflows by centralizing actions. For instance, if MDE flags malware on one server and Defender for Cloud detects lateral movement from that same server, the connection makes it easier to correlate these findings and contain the threat across multiple endpoints. Adaptive application controls also play a key role in preventing attacks before they escalate. This feature allows you to define which applications are permitted to run on your virtual machines, significantly reducing the risk of unauthorized or malicious software being executed. Operating on machine learning, it continually monitors workloads and suggests adjustments to these control lists based on evolving usage patterns. This means your defenses adapt as your environment changes, staying one step ahead of attackers who often introduce new techniques to bypass traditional defenses. The enhanced security plan adds another layer of value for organizations operating in highly regulated industries. Its built-in compliance checks don't just extend to Azure, they also apply to AWS and GCP. Frameworks like SOC 2, ISO 27001, or GDPR can all be tracked within the same interface, regardless of which cloud provider manages the workloads. This unified approach simplifies audits, reduces the risk of non-compliance, and helps organizations meet their regulatory commitments without deploying separate tools for each environment. Real-world examples illustrate just how impactful these features can be. For instance, organizations embracing just-in-time VM access have seen brute force attacks drop drastically. By eliminating exposed ports, attackers lose one of the most common entry points into cloud environments. Similarly, the multi-cloud support has allowed teams managing hybrid setups to identify and resolve misconfigurations they might have missed using their provider-specific tools. The integration with SIEM systems has enabled faster automated workflows that surface critical threats within minutes instead of hours, time that could prevent extensive damage. Another notable benefit of the enhanced plan is its ability to support continuous learning within your organization. Security is never static and new threats emerge constantly. Defender for Cloud system updates itself based on Microsoft's wide-reaching threat intelligence network, which is informed by countless data points across industries. This ensures the tools in your hands are always aligned with the latest real-world attack tactics. Trying these enhanced features is easy thanks to a 30-day free trial included with the plan. This gives organizations the flexibility to fully evaluate its advanced capabilities in action. During this trial, you can see firsthand how continuous export, JIT access, multi-cloud support, and integrated endpoint detection make a difference in maintaining visibility and managing threats. The trial period is an opportunity not just to explore new features, but to understand how they fit within your broader security strategies. Whether you're looking to detect vulnerabilities faster, streamline your CM workflows, or unify policies across multiple clouds, this trial offers a no-risk way to experience the benefits. Ultimately, the enhanced security plan extends the versatility of Defender for Cloud, transforming it into a tool that doesn't just respond to threats but strengthens your defenses proactively. It's designed for environments where the risks never stop evolving, where attackers adapt quickly, but your security needs to adapt faster. So how can you start using these features to protect your organization? Activating the enhanced plan is straightforward, and the 30-day trial ensures you can explore every capability before committing. It gives you the chance to measure improvements in your security posture and see how these tools make day-to-day operations more streamlined and secure. Finally, let's look at how Defender for Cloud turns all this data into actionable insights. By understanding vulnerabilities, prioritizing risks, and mapping attack paths, it helps simplify even the most complex security challenges. Fine-tuning your secure score, exemptions, and continuous export. How do you ensure your security efforts are focused on what really matters? At its core, security is all about prioritizing risks and addressing what poses the greatest threat to your environment. That's where Microsoft Defender for Cloud Secure Score becomes so valuable. It gives organizations a quantifiable way to measure their security posture, helping you track how secure your workloads are and, more importantly, what steps you need to take to improve. It's an essential tool, but for it to be effective, it must reflect your organization's actual needs and priorities. That's where fine-tuning Secure Score comes into play, and features like resource exemptions and continuous export make this process far more precise. Secure Score works by assessing a range of factors across your environment and assigning points to different aspects of your security posture. For example, enabling certain protections like closing unused ports or encrypting data adds to your overall score. The idea is to bring every subscription, workload, or resource up to the highest standard. It's a straightforward concept. The higher your score, the better protected you are. But where it gets tricky is figuring out which recommendations to act on first. Not all recommendations carry the same risk or relevance. For example, you might receive a recommendation to enforce multi-factor authentication, MFA, for all accounts. That's a high-value fix if you don't already have MFA in place. However, if your organization uses a third-party MFA provider rather than Azure's native tools, the recommendation becomes redundant. In cases like this, unchecked recommendations could make your secure score seem artificially low, even though you've already addressed the issue through alternative methods. This is why fine-tuning your score by using resource exemptions can make such a difference. So, how do exemptions work? Simply put, they allow you to exclude certain resources from specific recommendations when the recommendation doesn't apply or when its intent is already being met. For instance, if a storage account is flagged for using an unsecured connection, but you know it's protected by another layer of encryption that's not directly recognized by Defender for Cloud, you can create an exemption for that resource. This ensures your secure score reflects reality, focusing on the recommendations that truly matter, rather than ones that are unnecessarily skewing your priorities. Creating a resource exemption is straightforward. First, you'll navigate to your security recommendations within the Microsoft Defender for Cloud dashboard. Once you select a recommendation, you'll see the option to create exemptions for specific resources. You can then define the scope of the exemption, whether that's for a single resource, an entire subscription, or even a management group. Plus, you have the option to add an expiration date to ensure exemptions don't stay in place indefinitely. For instance, if you're temporarily accepting a lower security state while working on a broader fix, setting an expiration lets you revisit the issue later. Adding justifications for each exemption also helps maintain accountability, both for your team and for audits. Let's take a practical example. Imagine a recommendation in your secure score flags multiple virtual machines for having open ports. While you agree with the importance of securing these ports, you know that one specific VM requires an open port temporarily to allow trusted connections during a testing phase. Instead of remediating the recommendation immediately, which might disrupt your workflow, you create an exemption for that VM. You document that it's a short-term exception, add a justification, and set an expiration date for the exemption. This approach allows your team to focus on truly critical vulnerabilities without fielding unnecessary alerts. Now, let's talk about continuous export. While exemptions fine-tune your secure score within Defender for Cloud, continuous export ensures that you can integrate all your alerts, recommendations, and insights into external monitoring tools. This is essential for teams that rely on security information and event management, CM systems, or log analytics to manage broader security operations. Continuous export keeps all your information flowing in real time to whatever platform your team already uses, streamlining the flow of data so you're not constantly switching between interfaces. The value here is twofold. First, exporting data into a CM or log analytics tool allows you to better correlate Defender for Cloud's insights with other operational data, such as network traffic patterns or endpoint behaviors. This helps you identify patterns or anomalies that might not be immediately evident when looking at isolated alerts. For example, if Defender for Cloud flags unusual login attempts on an Azure subscription while your CM detects unusual traffic volumes from the same source, continuous export allows those data points to connect automatically, creating a more complete picture of the potential threat. Second, continuous export helps with tracking and compliance. Many industries require detailed logs of security activities for audits, incident investigations, or regulatory reporting. When continuous export is enabled, all relevant data is automatically stored and centralized in one place, allowing teams to quickly generate reports or review previous trends. This can make a huge difference during an audit where demonstrating consistent security practices is often as critical as resolving issues in real time. Configuring continuous export is simple. You start in the Microsoft Defender for Cloud dashboard and navigate to the Environment Settings section. From there, you can enable options to export recommendations, alerts, and even secure score changes. The export can be directed to Azure Monitor Logs, Event Hubs, or third-party tools like Splunk. If you're operating on a multi-cloud strategy, this feature ensures that no matter where your workloads are hosted, you're seeing all security data in a single unified space. Now, why are these two features, exemptions and continuous export, so important for refining secure score? It comes back to prioritization. Without exemptions, irrelevant recommendations inflate your to-do list, making it harder to tell what truly needs attention. Without continuous export, your insights become siloed within Defender for Cloud, leaving gaps in your understanding of your overall security landscape. Together, these features ensure that your secure score reflects the risks that actually matter, paving the way to smarter, more coordinated responses. For instance, suppose your organization runs workloads across Azure, AWS, and GCP. A unified secure score displayed in Defender for Cloud helps you understand the security posture of all three platforms, but continuous export lets you merge this data with other alerts and metrics pulled from third-party tools or internal systems. Now, instead of reacting to individual issues piecemeal, your team can analyze how specific recommendations or threats connect across the entire environment. For example, is an open port on an Azure VM tied to unusual behavior in an integrated SaaS platform hosted on GCP? Continuous export makes these relationships easier to uncover. Another benefit to refining secure score is aligning its use with your organization's unique goals. Every setup is different, and blindly following all recommendations might not make sense for your specific needs. Exemptions ensure you're not chasing unnecessary fixes, while exports allow you to automate and centralize the workflow. This makes secure score a practical tool for driving actionable improvements, not just a static number on a dashboard. That's the core of what makes these features so impactful. Refining secure score isn't just about improving a metric, it's about ensuring you're addressing the vulnerabilities that pose the greatest risks to your environment while making the process as efficient as possible for your team. Creating exemptions removes noise, continuous export facilitates deeper analysis, and together they allow you to stay focused on what matters most, protecting your organization from real-world threats. But what about understanding the most common attack vectors in your environment? Detecting risks and fixing vulnerabilities is one part of the equation, but knowing how attackers exploit your specific setup can elevate your defenses even further. Understanding these attack paths is critical to staying ahead of threats. Let's wrap up with how Defender for Cloud visualizes these attack paths to improve your organization's overall security posture. Visualizing threats, attack paths, and the cloud security map. How can you see your vulnerabilities the way attackers do? In the complex web of cloud security, it's not enough to simply know that issues exist. You need to understand how those issues could be leveraged against your organization. This is where attack paths in Microsoft Defender for Cloud come into play. By mapping out the journey an attacker might take to exploit vulnerabilities, attack paths offer a clearer and more actionable view of your environment's weaknesses. Rather than isolating resources and vulnerabilities as standalone items, they show how everything connects, helping security teams assess risks within the broader context of their cloud infrastructure. Attack paths are predefined within Defender for Cloud and based on real-world attack vectors that are commonly used by adversaries. Each path highlights the most likely routes attackers might take if they were to exploit specific weaknesses. For example, one attack path might show that an internet-facing virtual machine is highly vulnerable due to unpatched software or misconfigurations. The path wouldn't stop there, though. It would also show what that vulnerability could connect to, perhaps a storage account containing sensitive data or a network with critical access privileges. This context isn't just useful, it's vital for prioritizing your defenses and deciding where to act first. But understanding vulnerabilities in isolation is only the beginning. Defender for Cloud's cloud security map takes things further by offering a visual and interactive interface that encompasses resources, vulnerabilities, and security recommendations all in one place. The map gives you a bird's-eye view of your cloud environment, tying together multiple layers of information. This unified view allows you to not only identify issues, but see their relationships, whether that's one resource exposing another or an overlooked misconfiguration creating a potential attack vector. For modern organizations operating in both single and multi-cloud setups, the value of this holistic perspective cannot be overstated. The ability to build custom views is one of the cloud security map's standout features. Security teams can use these custom queries to focus on specific areas of concern, such as high-severity vulnerabilities in internet-facing workloads or the connections between sensitive assets. These tailored views allow teams to shift their focus as needed. For example, if a phishing alert comes in, you can use the cloud security map to trace potential attack paths originating from a compromised user account, identifying where that vulnerability could lead. It's this adaptability that makes the tool indispensable for organizations managing diverse and evolving environments. Let's look at a practical example. Say an organization discovers a virtual machine with an open RDP port exposed to the internet, a common entry point for attackers. The attack path associated with this vulnerability identifies not just the machine's exposure, but that it's connected to a storage account containing sensitive customer data. This insight places the vulnerability into context. Patching or securing the machine isn't just about improving a security score, it's about preventing a direct path to critical assets. Armed with this information, the team can prioritize the remediation of the virtual machine, knowing it has the potential to block a damaging breach before it happens. Without this context, that same vulnerability might have been overlooked or delayed in favor of less pressing issues. This kind of visualization is especially useful for preventing data breaches. Often, vulnerabilities don't seem critical until you consider their potential impact. An unpatched system alone might not appear to be an immediate threat, but when that system serves as a gateway to high-value data, the urgency becomes obvious. Attack paths help make these relationships clear, showing how each piece of the environment interacts and where the most critical points of failure lie. This approach makes it easier to focus on high-risk areas instead of being distracted by lower priority issues. Another key strength of the cloud security map is its ability to provide a multi-cloud and multi-tenant view. In today's landscape, many organizations operate across multiple providers, running workloads on Azure, storing assets in AWS, and harnessing analytics on GCP. This diversity can improve efficiency and innovation, but complicates security management. The Cloud Security Map bridges these challenges by unifying visibility across all platforms. It shows a single view of vulnerabilities, resources, and recommendations from across your entire cloud estate. For example, instead of reviewing AWS and GCP risks in separate dashboards, the map lays everything out together so you can spot patterns, redundancies, or gaps across all providers. Customizability takes this one step further. With the Cloud Security Map, users can filter views by resource type, severity, or any number of additional criteria. Security administrators can create specific dashboards to monitor key risks. Imagine building a view that focuses exclusively on internet-facing resources. This might highlight high-severity vulnerabilities in certain environments while simultaneously surfacing related configurations that could weaken your defenses. By tailoring the map to focus on what matters most, organizations can save significant time and energy targeting the highest risk areas first. It's also worth noting that this feature aids collaboration within security teams. Because visualizations are intuitive and tailored, they make it easier for groups to align on strategies and next steps. For example, instead of simply reading a technical alert, a team can view the associated attack paths together on the map, seeing exactly how a single vulnerability might trigger a chain reaction. This shared understanding makes it easier to delegate tasks, agree on priorities, and respond faster as a group, even across distributed teams. The Cloud Security Map isn't just about reacting to existing vulnerabilities, though. Its proactive nature allows you to foresee potential problems before they escalate. Think of it as a way to test your defenses in a continuously shifting battlefield. By analyzing attack paths and related vulnerabilities in real time, you gain insights into what attackers see when they scout your environment. From there, you can close off tempting entry points, strengthen key defenses, and adjust your strategies before those vulnerabilities can be exploited. The value of visualizing these elements in one place cannot be overstated. Without it, securing an environment often means piecing together insights from multiple tools, platforms, and departments. This fragmentation leaves gaps, creating opportunities for threats to go unaddressed simply because they're part of a bigger pattern no one has pieced together. With the Cloud Security Map, that pattern is made visible, allowing organizations to connect the dots between potential entry points, vulnerabilities, and critical assets. The result is fewer blind spots and a more comprehensive understanding of the overall security posture For organizations that have implemented the cloud security map and attack paths, the impact is tangible. They're able to remediate vulnerabilities faster, prevent misconfigurations from escalating, and focus their resource allocation on the areas that truly matter. For example, one company using this tool identified that their highest risk issue was not a high-severity vulnerability as they'd initially assumed, but a mid-level misconfiguration that created a potential pivot point for attackers to bypass network segmentation. By addressing this overlooked configuration, they closed off an entire pathway that could have exposed sensitive systems to external threats. Attack paths also emphasize the relationship between vulnerabilities and actionable security recommendations. Each path not only shows where an attacker could go, but pinpoints exactly what actions can disrupt their progress. Whether it's updating configurations, deploying patches, or terminating unnecessary access permissions, Defender for Cloud ensures you know exactly what steps to take. And because this is enforced through the same dashboard that visualizes the attack path, it streamlines workflows by connecting insights directly to remediation. For many organizations, the real game changer is the ability to see vulnerabilities the way attackers do. It's one thing to be aware of a misconfiguration or weak point. It's another entirely to see how it serves as part of a potential chain of events that could compromise your cloud environment. This level of visualization transforms the approach to cloud security. Instead of playing catch-up with threats, you're addressing them proactively and contextually. What's the final step to take your cloud security to the next level? It all comes back to having a clear, unified view of your vulnerabilities, resources, and recommendations in context. With tools like attack paths and the cloud security map, Defender for Cloud empowers organizations to not just detect and remediate issues, but truly understand their environment in a way that prioritizes resilience. Now, let's bring it all together in our conclusion. The sophistication of modern threats demands a sophisticated solution, and Microsoft Defender for Cloud delivers just that. It provides a centralized view of your security posture, spanning Azure, AWS, and GCP, ensuring consistent practices across multi-cloud environments. Begin by assessing where you stand using Secure Score and focus on high-impact recommendations to improve your resilience. Integrate Defender for Cloud into your broader security strategy to enhance visibility, detect threats early, and protect critical assets. Start leveraging Microsoft Defender for Cloud today to stay ahead of attackers. Stay tuned for Part 2, where we'll explore advanced cloud security tactics even further.
That's the wrap on this section of the 65 show. Your source of smarter like Microsoft 365. We hope you picked up something new that you're displaying. Go take that to your digital workspace. If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with your colleagues, your team, or anyone navigating the Microsoft ecosystem. Got questions or a topic you'd love us to cover? Reach out to us anytime. We're here to connect, collaborate, and grow with you until next time. Stay secure, stay productive, and stay inspired. Thanks for listening to the